Hello. So this is the start of another reading vlog, and this reading vlog is going to be reading booktubers favorites. So I have watched so many booktubers favorite books of 2022 videos and gone through and saw what I have on my shelf, which ones I'm really interested in. So I didn't want to just pick any random favorite that I hadn't read off of my friends' videos. I really wanted to look at what am I truly interested in reading and what do I already have on my shelf and things like that. So I've already filmed the entirety of this reading vlog and I don't know what happened to my intro, so you're getting it over again and pretending like I haven't already read these books, but you don't know what I thought of them yet, so let's just pretend. So the first book that I'm reading for this vlog is A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw, and I'm reading this one because it kind of kills two birds with one stone, because this book was on the favorites list for both my friend Jessie from the channel Reading with Jess and Gwen from Gwendolyn Kensinger. And they both raved about this and they said it was a cult thriller. So that really intrigued me to read this. And then the next book that I read for this vlog is The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth, and this is because of Keisha from A Book Like You. So Keisha has been raving about Sally Hepworth, and I've heard some other people in the thriller genre talk about it, so I was very interested to pick that one up. The third book that I read for this vlog is We Spread by Ian Reid, and this is because of a couple of people, but mainly Elizabeth from Reading Riley, as well as Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. I don't know if this ended up on Ashley's favorites or not. I can't exactly remember. I'll have to go back and look at her video, but I know she really enjoyed this, and she and I talked a little bit about it in our DMs on Instagram, because she really is who intrigued me to pick this book up, because she told me that if you're going through something like in this book, which is memory loss and things like that, aging, then this book actually makes you feel very seen and understood. And then I have The Paper Palace by Miranda Cowley Heller, and I read this because of Kelsey from Essentially Booked. And then the last book that I read for this vlog is The Family Next Door by John Glatt, and this is the story of the Turpin siblings. And I read this because of my friend Jackie from the channel Jacqueline, and she has read a lot of true crime, and she always recommends great true crime to me. Every time she's recommended me a true crime book, I have enjoyed it. And almost every time she's recommended a memoir to me, I have enjoyed it. So I definitely trust her reading taste. She and I have very similar reading tastes. So those are all of the books that I am going to read in this vlog, and so watch the vlog and then we'll come back and wrap it up.
I know it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We did.
So it is an unusually warm day for Virginia in January. It is actually 62 degrees. So I left the house in just a little denim shirt, no real jacket, and I have my sunroof open. I mean, just exposed, like it's not open to the air, but I just love seeing the sun come in. And we are on our way to McKay's Used Books in Manassas, Virginia. It's about an hour away from me, and we are going to go unhaul some books and get store credit, and then see if there's anything that we want to use the credit to get. This is a really good way for me to make sure that I'm unhauling books and to make sure that I am not spending a ton of money on books. So when there's books that I am like not sure I'm gonna like, but I'm kind of interested in, I try to see if I can find them at McKay's, because then if I don't like them, it's like not a big deal. I get annoyed if I don't like a book that I paid full price for, so I try not to do that very often, unless it's something that I really know I'm gonna like. So we're on our way to do that, and I'll see if I can get some clips of me turning in those books or shopping for some more books. McKay's is huge. Luckily they have carts, which is nice, but also not nice, because since I don't have to carry the books, they add up real quick in those little carts. So, and I think of McKay's the way I think of like TJ Maxx. When I go to TJ Maxx, I either hit jackpot or I find nothing. And that's the way it seems to be with McKay's too. You can't go to McKay's looking for specific books. You just have to go with the time where you can just kind of peruse, browse, look through things, and really find things. If you go in with like a list and a strict time frame, you're not going to find anything. So you just have to allow yourself to just like peruse and look through and allow yourself to take the time that it needs. Kind of like with TJ Maxx, where you have to like kind of go through every single piece of clothing because it's all just put together as like shirts, pants, workout. They also have music, which I don't really listen to CDs anymore. I listen to Spotify or the radio. And then they also have movies, which I usually look through, and then games, which I always look through, but I don't usually find anything. I'm also always worried that they're going to be missing pieces, or a lot of them we already have. So that is the plan for today. And depending on what I end up getting, I might do a haul, or I might just wait and film like a full book haul at the end of January. So that is the plan for today. And the thing on my carpet is moving. I have like a thing under my feet in my car, but it moves around a lot, and I'm always worried one day that it's gonna like cause me to have a problem driving. So I need to figure that out. It doesn't like stay put, it like moves around, which is strange because it's made for my car. It's like made for my type of car. So I don't know, I need to figure that out. But anyways, we are just going to drive, and I think we're gonna listen to some Taylor Swift. I usually listen to audiobooks, but I'm kind of feeling just like a nice country drive with some Taylor Swift, because I kind of go through wine country Virginia to get to McKay's, and so it's a nice atmosphere, it's a nice ambiance for some Taylor Swift.
This every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you.
Okay, so I am in a different space because I am house sitting and dog sitting, but I just got home from dance, and I just wanted to update you because I think about halfway through A History of Wild Places by Errands, and I'm kind of bored. So basically, there's a couple of different plots that are kind of converging right now, and we're trying to find some missing people, and there's like a town that's kind of like part of folklore but actually exists, but nobody ever leaves. So I don't know, I don't want to give too much away because I think that I was spoiled for this book. Because of that, I think that I'm not enjoying it very much because I feel like I'm going to be able to predict what happens. So I also am not a huge fan of the writing. It's too much, too descriptive. Like she says, you know, I was seething with anger that was taking root in my soul, like a tree that was planted before I was born, or whatever. I think that's like, she said something like that at one point. Like, just tell everybody you're mad. Like, you don't need all that. Just say you're mad. So, I don't know. I'm not loving it. Kind of bored. And I find myself like not paying attention, and then I have to go back, like rewind it and re-listen. So I probably won't check in again. You'll probably just hear from me when I finish the book. Okay, so I am on my way home from Jackie's baby shower. It was so much fun to see her and her family and a couple of friends I haven't seen in a while. And it was so cute to see her and her little belly opening up presents. But I also wanted to update you because I have finished A History of Wild Places by Errands, and I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars. So I understand why people like this book. I get it, I really do. But it just, I don't know, there was too many people, too many points of view, too many moving parts. And I'm thinking that maybe if I physically read this, it might have hit differently. But just some of the like little things that I feel like maybe I missed, or the little bits of magical realism, I just feel like I didn't connect with them as much, maybe. I don't know. And also the ending I was not on board with, and people told me that they really liked the ending, but I don't like when things are tied up in a happy little bow. And now, while this wasn't tied up in a happy little bow, I definitely wanted the pot to be stirred a little bit more with the ending. I felt like it was just kind of a cop-out Hollywood ending, personally. I also think I set my expectations a little bit high because this was compared to a movie that I absolutely love. And I don't want to say the movie because if you've seen the movie, it definitely spoils some things, gives some things away. So I wasn't surprised by the twist because I had it compared to that movie. So if you know which movie I'm talking about, it's definitely a spoiler. If you want to know what the movie is and don't care whether or not you're going to be spoiled, then let me know. Shoot me like a DM on Instagram. I'd be happy to let you know what that movie is because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. But it just fell flat for me, and since I already had seen that twist before in that movie, I wasn't shocked, I wasn't surprised. I think I'm gonna give A History of Wild Places 2 stars, which makes me so sad. I'm so glad that both Jesse and Gwen enjoyed the book, and I'm so glad that I have so many friends that enjoyed it. I just don't think it was a book for me. But I am going to move on to The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. I just got a notification that came in on my Libby app, and so I am going to read this one because of my friend Keisha from the channel A Book Like You. And similar to Gwen and I, Keisha and I don't have very similar reading preferences per se, but I've been hearing her rave about Sally Hepworth for a couple of months now, and reading the synopsis of this one, I do think I'm going to like it. So I will get into the book a little bit and then come back when I have an update for you. It is time for Operation Salvage This Vlog. So you haven't heard from me in a couple of days because I had my birthday and it was so fun. My coworkers threw a little surprise for me at work, and my friend Jessie from the channel Reading with Jess threw me a lovely surprise Zoom reading sprints. I was on reading sprints with her the day before my birthday, and she surprised me by inviting some of my lovely friends, Jordan, Gwen, and Summer, to be on with me, and we played some games, and it was just such a great surprise. So I had a lovely birthday. And then right after that, I got COVID about 3 days after. So I basically haven't been updating the vlog, but I have been reading. So I did finish The Good Sister right before the New Year New Reads readathon started, which I had every intention of filming and vlogging, but you can see the dog over there. But it just didn't happen because life had other plans for me, apparently. So I did finish The Good Sister. Speaking of which, that's my steroids for my shortness of breath that I'm having with COVID. Anyway, so I did finish The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth, and I am happy to report that I am going to give it 3 stars. So I enjoyed the writing style. It was really quick. It kept moving, but it's not a thriller. It's not. And I know that Keisha told me that, but that's what it's constantly advertised as. And even when I put it into the story graph said that it was fast-paced. There is nothing fast-paced about that book. If anything, it is a domestic suspense. And I did like the POV of the woman with the intellectual disability. I liked the sister relationship aspect. I liked the slow burn romance, but almost like halfway through it, I had to like keep reminding myself that it wasn't a romance book because it was reading like a rom-com. But I liked the writing style. And while it was nothing earth-shattering, I guessed absolutely everything that was going to happen. There were no surprises, no thrills, no nothing like that. I did enjoy it. It was a nice fiction suspense book, but it was not a thriller. So I will be reading another Sally Hepworth. I definitely am interested in checking out more of her work. So I feel like that is a win, which is good because The History of Wild Places was a huge miss. So we have 1 miss and 1 win so far. I call a 3-star a win, you know? 3-star doesn't mean that I'm going to like recommend it to everybody. It's not going to be on my favorite books of the year, but it was good. It was enjoyable. There was nothing really inherently wrong with it except that it is advertised completely wrong, and it is not a thriller. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to read is going to be Scribd by Ian Reid. And I'm a little nervous about this one because this was gifted to me by my friend Marisol during the Night Owl gift exchange during Christmas that my friend Gwen did on her podcast, Talk Bookish to Me, the Patreon that she has for the podcast, rather. And so I've been interested in this, but I was a little bit worried because I know this follows an elderly person that's dealing with memory loss and living in a facility. And I am currently going through that right now with a family member, and it's been really hard and really traumatic for a lot of us. So I was a little bit concerned about this being in the throes of it currently, but Ashley from Ashley's Little Library said that it made her feel very seen and it made her feel very less alone in the midst of a situation like that. So I'm going into it knowing that it might evoke a lot of emotions in me, but honestly, I want that. Honestly, I haven't had a book evoke much emotion in me for a really long time. So I'm kind of like, okay, yes, I'm ready for the waterworks, which sounds weird and bad, but sometimes you just want to remember that you are normal and have emotions, because I don't really have many outward emotions. I kind of bottle everything in. So I'm kind of ready for this experience. But I'm also a little bit worried about this because this one I'm reading because of Elizabeth from the channel Reading Riley, and I really enjoy her point of view. I always enjoy her thoughts. She's so funny and I watch a lot of her videos. However, she and I don't really have similar tastes is what I'm finding, because I read We Need to Talk About Kevin last year because of her, and I also read The First Day of Spring, and I gave We Need to Talk About Kevin 2 stars, and I DNF'd The First Day of Spring at about like halfway through, I think. So, and then I know she loves like Karen Slaughter and I don't. So I'm interested to see if our tastes align with this one. I've also never read Ian Reid before, so we'll have to see, but this was her favorite book of last year. And so from her thoughts and Ashley's Little Library, I decided I'm gonna try it out, and it might traumatize me or I might love it. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I'm 20 minutes into the audiobook and I already like teared up twice. So like no waterworks yet, but I teared up. So I will see if I even remember to update the vlog, but maybe the next time you see me, I'll be reading a completely different book. Who knows? This month has turned out to be absolutely crazy. So who knows what we'll get into and what we'll read the next. I just finished Scribd by Ian Reid. That ending, that last paragraph. It's crazy how somebody's entire life is able to be kind of like wrapped up in like a couple of sentences, and it just makes me so sad to think that so many interesting, lovely, creative people at the end of their life basically just get I don't know. It just seems scary to me and sad and heartbreaking and unfair that these people with so much to say and so much, you know, they're so interesting and they have so many things to add to conversations and they've lived such like a full life, to then have their life be boiled down to living in a nursing home with other people giving them showers. And I just think about how terrifying it is and how scary it must be for people to not be able to trust their own memory anymore. It makes me think about how frustrating it would be to feel like you knew what was going on and then you're being told all these different things and you just don't know what to believe. And it's different than like a thriller that has like an unreliable narrator, because the end of that story, the end of that work of fiction, doesn't necessarily mean the end of their life. mean that their life is over. So it's never really bothered me when somebody's an unreliable narrator, or when somebody doesn't know who to believe or who to trust. I think it's cruel and unusual that our world forgets about people so easily. And I think it's cruel and unusual that we as a culture, America is terrible at taking care of their elderly. We're terrible at it. We lock our elderly away in care homes and facilities and assisted living and nursing homes and things like that because they're an inconvenience to us, is really what it boils down to. Whereas most cultures, it's like expected that you take care of your elderly parents, your aging family members. And having been to a lot of different types of facilities and going through having a family member in an assisted living, a memory care unit, a hospice unit actually right now, you know, and it's like, it can be the best facility out there, but the reality is it's not their loved one, it's not their person. It just makes me sad, the abrupt ending. And like, I don't want to give a spoiler, but like, there's something pretty significant that happens at the end, and it's like, what's gonna happen with that after? Is it just going to, you know, is it just going to be like wiped, and, you know, is the room just going to be cleared of all of Penny's, you know, things and ready for the next person? So I guess I have to rate this 5 stars. I guess. There was a section in the middle that got kind of slow and redundant, but man, that last paragraph. And it reminds me of The Measure by Nikki Erlich, because in The Measure, you have all of these people grappling with the fact that they know the length of their life. And when we were having the discussion on it with Gwen and the other night owls from the Talk Bookish to Me Patreon, people were, you know, we were kind of asking each other and talking about, like, would we want to know, would we tell people? And I think that, and this might sound really selfish, but this is definitely selfish, but I would rather have a short string, because I can't imagine going through life and just one by one losing everybody that I care about and knowing that it's going to happen and having to live with that. But then in Penny's case, Penny had nobody, literally nobody. And like at one point it says, like, she was like, oh, are you gonna, like, you know, call my friends? Are you gonna let them know about this? And the lady was like, what friends? Like, you don't have anybody outside of this place. And I just became so profoundly aware of, you know, how much your life gets dialed down to very little. It's like your life starts and it's very little. It's your life starts and it's you, your parents, eating, sleeping, changing diapers, things like that. And then you grow up and you live this life, and then at the end of it gets boiled down to kind of the same thing, like you and your caregivers eating, sleeping, getting your diaper changed. It just seems very unfair. But I don't know what the alternative would be. I can't believe I'm crying on the internet. I don't know if any of this is gonna make it in the vlog. I'm grateful that my loved ones won't have to be like Penny, and won't have to be in this place with nobody, where they know nobody, they have nobody, there's nobody else out there for them, no family, no nothing. And I think that's one of the big pieces that Penny was missing. There was nobody that knew her when she was an artist, when she was going dancing, when she was learning French. At the end of her life, there was nobody that knew that Penny. And I think that's the saddest part of all. It's weird saying that I liked a book like this, but I guess I liked it. I guess I'm giving it 5 stars. But it definitely, like, I haven't had a book spark that much emotion in a long, long time. So, I'm going to go recover with snacks and figure out
what we're gonna read next for this vlog.
Hello. So now that I have recovered from the experience of reading Scribd, I got in a little bit of a book hangover after that, but I'm ready to start what I think will be my last book for this vlog. So I am working from home today. I have my coworker here with me, snoozing on the job. But I am on my lunch break right now, and then I am about to get on some productivity sprints with Jordan on her channel. So I wanted to start this now because I will be listening to the audiobook this afternoon. So some of the tasks I have for work this afternoon are ones that I can pretty easily do while listening, because they don't require a whole lot of brain power from me. So yeah, anyways, all that to say, I will be reading The Paper Palace by Miranda Cowley Heller, and I have the physical copy that was sent to me by my friend Summer. So thank you so much, Summer. It was so sweet of you to send this to me. And this book was recommended to me by Kelsey from Essentially Booked. And she reads pretty similar to me as far as liking to read some classics, a little bit of thrillers, and then also some historical fiction as well, and some romance. So she and I tend to read pretty similar. We have different opinions on rotten apples, but that's fine. I won't hold it against you, Kelsey, don't worry. But she just raved about this book on our live show with Gwen. I'll leave that linked below. My friend Gwen does reading wrap-up live shows on her channel every month, and we did kind of a year-end wrap-up, and Kelsey said that this was one of her favorite books of the year. So I don't actually know a whole lot about it besides what she told me, and the way she pitched it, I was like, yes, that sounds awesome. So it looks like it spans over 20 years. Oh, 50 years. 24 hours and 50 years. Okay, so 24 hours and 50 years. Huh. As decades of family legacies, love, lies, secrets, and one unspeakable childhood incident led Elle to the precipice of a life-changing decision. So Reese Witherspoon said it's a deeply emotional love story with the unraveling of secrets, lies, and a very complex love triangle. So I'm very excited. This book has gotten really great accolades, and it's a Reese's book club. And that does make me a tad nervous because I have never give anything from Reese's book club more than 3 stars before, but maybe this will be the winner. We're on a pretty good upswing with this video, a pretty good streak since the first book. But yeah, so I am going to hop in to this and work my afternoon, and I'm going to see if I can finish this before 8 p.m. tonight, because 8 p.m. is when the 24-hour readathon starts for the Night Owls, all of us that are on Gwen's Patreon for her podcast Talk Bookish to Me. We're doing a 24-hour readathon, and it starts at 8 p.m. So we'll see if I can finish this before that. If not, I might need to pause it for the next 24 hours until that's over and then pick it back up. So we'll see what ends up happening.
I can't believe you love me. I just feel so lucky. Still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends.
I love that sound.
Let's be more than friends, yeah. You know I'm here to stay every single day, yeah. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. I can't believe you love me. I just feel so lucky. Still can't believe you love me.
Okay, so that is just going to have to stay like that for a while because I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how to organize it. Maybe I need to watch some YouTube videos about bookshelf organization. I don't know. But I've been going back and forth with this for a couple of hours, but I think I am going to DNF the Paper Palace. I made it to 30%, and I told myself I wasn't going to DNF for this vlog, but in 2022, my average rating was 3.1, which is pretty low. I would like it to be higher than that. So I need to give myself grace to DNF. I need to. That's the only way I'm going to get my average rating higher. That's the only way I'm going to get to all of the really, really good books that are sitting on my shelf. Now, with that being said, this book was on the Goodreads Choice Awards nominations last year for like best debut and best something else, best fiction maybe. And it was a New York Times bestseller. It was Reese's Book Club. So there is 1000% an audience for this book. Definitely look up trigger warnings before you go into it. I just felt like this book was so raw and messy and dramatic, and overtly so. I am not a prude by any means. I like open door romance. I like smut, like door wide open. You do you, girl. Whatever floats your boat. However, this is not supposed to be a romance, I don't think. And just overly vulgar. Everybody. I don't think that, I would say every 10 pages or so, some sort of sexual encounter with somebody was mentioned. Whether it was SA, incest, cheating, watching random people on the beach. It was just so much and so salacious and just out there. And I use curse words as much as the next person, but every single character didn't need to be using them all the time. And none of the characters had any really redeeming qualities. I read a review that said that it was morally gray. There was no morals whatsoever. There was no gray at all. There was just none. The kids were whiny and disrespectful and obnoxious, and the parents were just fine with it. And using very derogatory terms that there is no excuse for using. One term that I didn't even know, and I made the mistake of looking up. And, I just didn't need that in my brain. I didn't need all of that stuff milling about in my brain. The characters were yucky. It was just, no. Oh, look at that. I just got a notice from my library saying that the audiobook of this is due back soon. So I will be returning that early. But I see where people can like this because it's very different from real life. So it definitely gives you that idea of escapism if that's what you want. And if you can get past just all of the ridiculous characters. So for those reasons, I am going to DNF it. It's a beautiful cover, and I'm so glad this book worked for so many people. It's just not for me. And if I continued it, I would only give it maybe 2 stars tops, but I mean, the first 30% is a 1 star. So I am trying to hold myself to the standard of DNFing if I know I'm not going to enjoy the book, and I know if I think it's going to be less than a 3 star, I should just DNF it, unless I have a really good reason not to. So Kelsey, I'm so glad you enjoyed this book, but unfortunately I am going to DNF it. But she and I disagree on some other books as well, like Rotten Apples. So I shouldn't be all that surprised, but once again, that's the great thing about books. We all enjoy different books, and we all vibe with different types of books. So this one just didn't vibe with me. Okay, so now I'm going to jump in what will be the last book for this vlog, and it's going to be The Family Next Door by John Glatt. I've read like 2 John Glatt books, and I really enjoyed them both. He writes like true crime. So this is about the Turpin siblings. There's like 13 of them, and I think they were like tortured and abused as children, and I saw some stuff coming out in the media about them recently, and so I thought this would be a good one, and it was on Jacqueline's list of top books of the year. So I have it on Scribd, so I am just going to hop right into that one.
Into your arms, dancing up in the stars. Oh, where I'd rather be than with you.
So let's finish out this vlog. So to recap, I ended with a 2-star, a 3-star, a 4-star, and a 5-star. So pretty much across the board. I didn't have a 1-star, so like that's good, right? So just to sum everything up, I read A History of Wild Places by Shane Earnshaw because of Gwen and Jesse, and I gave it 2 stars. And then I read The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth because of Keisha from A Book Like You. And then I read We Spread by Ian Reid because of Elizabeth from Reading Riley. And I gave We Spread 5 stars, so this is my first 5-star book of the year, and I'm still trying to recover. And then, unfortunately, I did DNF The Paper Palace, and this book was recommended to me by Kelsey from Essentially Booked. And then we finished out with The Family Next Door by John Glatt, and I gave this one 4 stars, and it was recommended to me by Jacqueline. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books and if you liked them. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!